Hi ladies, this is a restorative sequence for healthy menstruation. So it can be done at any time throughout your cycle. It's some of my favorite stuff to do during menstruation, but they were actually also some of my favorite poses to do during my pregnancy as well. So I hope you enjoy. I have lots of props for today. So if you're at home and you don't have yoga props, you can find really anything around the house that works. Pillows, blankets, stacking books as blocks. And if you would like, this is also a great practice to do without props as well. So I'm going to demonstrate it with what I have, and then you can just adjust as you'd like for yourself at home. So we're going to come into a supported, reclined Baddha Konasana to start. So bringing the soles of the feet together. If you have a strap, set your strap up so that you have a big loop. And then you're going to bring it over the head and around the waist. And you want it to rest just like a belt around the sacrum. So the lower back is still free from the strap so that you can lie back over the bolster or pillows. And then you're going to bring the other end of the loop around the toes to rest onto the tops of the feet. So ideally the buckle is in a position where it's not pressing against the ankles, and then you have the tail of the strap handy so that you can adjust as you lie back. And then I actually also have another blanket in front of me here, and you're going to bring that onto the tops of the feet and then wrap it underneath the ankles so that the joints of the ankles and the edges of the feet are supported. And then lying all the way back. So we're going to hang out in each pose for anywhere to 2 to 5 minutes. But lying all the way back, if you have a blanket or another pillow for underneath your head, it's really nice to rest it in a position where the chin can soften towards the chest. And then if you have blocks that can go underneath the knees, or like I'm doing here, you can bring them underneath the forearms and the wrists. And then allowing the eyes to flow closed. Taking a few long breaths in and smooth breaths out. And then allowing the breath to return to natural breathing. As much as possible, really feeling the belly soften. And as we begin the class, really just taking a moment to thank yourself for creating some space to nourish and nurture. To slow down and find rest. This is a really great pose to relieve any cramping or heaviness in the pelvis. And with the slight elevation of the chest, very relaxing to the nervous system. which in turn calms the mind. Really allowing all of the muscles in the forehead to relax. The eyes to soften. And then even allow the hinge of the jaw to release so that the upper and lower teeth fall away from one another. Keeping the neck and the throat soft and open. And if you're currently menstruating, this is a time to allow your body to release and let go of anything that's not working, that doesn't feel good. And create space for anything that we'd like to bring in throughout the next cycle. And then taking another deep inhale through the nose. And then exhale through the mouth. And very slowly starting to bring the knees together, maybe into the chest. Releasing any props that you have around the feet. And keeping the head nice and low. Rolling over to your left in fetal position. And pausing for a moment there in fetal position. So once you make your way up to a comfortable seat, the next pose that we're going to be doing is Jani Shirshasana. So we're going to start with the left leg extended out in front of us. I folded a blanket to put underneath my hip, so if you'd like to do that, that's definitely an option. The right knee is going to bend and the sole of the foot is going to come to the inner left thigh. And then you can use whatever you'd like underneath you. I'm going to take the bolster. So the long end of the bolster is perpendicular, running across the top of my shin. And then I have a folded blanket for my head. And we're going to take it nice and passive. So we'll start by pressing the pelvis down into the ground, lengthen through the spine. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, start to fold yourselves forward. Let the back round. And then resting the arms either on the ground or on top of the bolster. The elbows are nice and soft. The shoulders relaxed. And ideally letting the head rest on something. And then once you settle into the appropriate depth of this pose, dropping back into the rhythm of your breath. It's so important, especially during menstruation and about a week or so before, that we really take time to turn inwards, to quiet down, and really allow the body to rest. And if we take the time to do that, we're less inclined to feel irritable or anxious. And in that surrendering, we open ourselves up to insight and information that's available deep within our bodies. On your next in-breath, we'll slowly come up, stacking one vertebra at a time, head being the very last thing to rise. And then we'll switch sides. So right leg extends out, left knee bend, sole of the foot to the inner thigh, and setting up any props that you're using. Let's take an inhale, hands on either side of the leg, get long through the spine. And then as you exhale, begin to fold forward, allowing the upper spine to round, resting the forearms either on the bolster, blocks, ground. And then again, if you can let your head rest on something, it's a really nice way to soothe the fluctuations of the mind. And it really brings a sense of quieting into the nervous system. Once again, dropping into the connection of your breath. Really using your breath to create more space with every inhale. And feel a softening and a letting go with every exhale. And even though you're folded forward here, really trying to keep the belly nice and soft. Especially if you're cramping at all or have a heavy flow. Softer you can keep your lower belly, the more ease you bring into the reproductive organs and all of the muscles that support them. Next in-breath to press down and through the legs and the pelvis. And rise all the way up nice and slow. Head stacking last. So the next pose that we're going to do is child's pose. Again, you can take it on the ground if you'd like. With the props that I have available, I'm set up like this. So a bolster stacked on top of 2 blocks, one going horizontally and one on its highest height. And then I also put 2 more blocks on either side for my forearms and wrists. So we're going to take the knees nice and wide, big toes touch, and if you're pregnant in this one, you can let your belly be further away from the bolster, or if you're getting really bad cramping right now and you want less pressure on the belly, that's an option. Otherwise, you're going to draw it all the way in so that the bolster is pressed up against your pelvis and your belly is folding over the bolster. And then when you're ready, folding forward, resting the head to either side. And dropping into a deep, steady breath. And just feeling into the comfort of being supported. And as you inhale, really deepen your breath into your lower back and kidneys. And as you exhale, feel the pelvis, the thigh bones, and even the feet drop towards the earth. And then turning your head to the other side. This is another great pose that can help relieve cramps. And release any residual tension or heaviness that you're feeling, whether that's physically or mentally and even emotionally. The feminine represents the ability to let go and let flow. And it also governs our emotions. And the root of emotion actually means to move. Really just giving yourself the space to observe emotion. And letting it come in and move out of the body. Using the support of the physical body, releasing to completely let go. on your next inhale, bringing the gaze through neutral. Pressing into the hands and rolling back up. So the next pose that we're going to do is Upavishta Konasana, or wide-legged forward fold. So I have a bolster and a couple of blocks to support me. I'm also sitting up on a blanket. So setting yourself up as you'd like. If you're menstruating, I do encourage you to take about 60% of your normal range of motion in the legs, just to keep it more passive. And then once you have yourself set up, take a long inhale, lengthen the sides of the body. And as you exhale, begin to fold your belly and your chest over your props. Set up our timer. And just like we did in Jani Savasana, if you'd like, it's really nice to have something underneath the head. And once you start to settle into your appropriate depth, take a moment to just flex through the feet, scrunch the toes, spread the toes, root the thigh bones down, and then use an exhale to let everything relax. And a couple different options with the hands. So if you feel like you have quite a bit of energy or you're more irritable, it's nice to keep the palms to face down because it encourages grounding in the body and a sense of steadiness. But if you're really working with letting go of something specifically, or wanting to be more open and receptive to any insights that come through, you can bring the palms to face upwards towards the sky. And allowing the breath to become very intentional. Long breaths in, and full breaths out. And with every exhale, feeling the skin along the lower back, the outer hips and thighs, drape and soften towards the mat. Feeling the muscles around the eyes relax. As the hinge of the jaw releases, and then even letting the mouth open ever so slightly. And then for these last few moments here, let's take a few deep inhales and exhales through the mouth. Keeping the lips as soft and relaxed as you can. next inhale, to slowly rise up, lengthening through the spine once you get there, feeling the tailbone root towards the ground as the back of the neck lengthens to the sky. So last and final pose is Savasana. If you have some props and you'd like to set up for supported Savasana, I do recommend that. I'm going to take a bolster underneath my knees. I also have 2 blocks set up horizontally along the front end of the mat to rest my heels, just because my bolster is quite dense. And then you can either let your legs be straight. I'm going to take the knees slightly out to the sides and the heels towards one another. And then bringing a blanket on top of the feet, if you'd like. And lying all the way back. You can rest an eye pillow over the eyes if you'd like something underneath the head. That's also an option. I'm going to take another blanket right on top of the front of my pelvis and lower belly. And let's bring the arms down to the sides, palms to face up, nice and wide away from the body. Let's take a long, deep inhale through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale, side out. Allowing the breath to be natural and easy. In and out through the nose. Really allowing these moments of stillness and of silence to reset. Refresh. And restore you on all levels. Slowly beginning to deepen your breath. If you have time to hang out here longer, I do encourage you to enjoy the time to rest. Otherwise, placing the palms on top of the low belly and front of the pelvis. Really thanking your body for regulating itself. And thanking yourself to making it to your mat, to take time to practice self-care. May this practice leave you feeling rejuvenated and refreshed. Bring the hands together over the third eye. Curl the lips into a smile. Namaste.